Hello everyone, and in today's video we'll be looking at episode 30 of What If Civilization Started Over. And in the last episode we saw the scramble for Africa, or the Treaty of Moscow. Africa is now fully divided up and only 3 African nations still exist, those being Carthage, Egypt and what's this country called again? No idea, but it don't matter. The continent was divided up by the Lime Iberians, Portugal, France, Germany, Britain, England, India and Galicia, and maybe some others, I don't know. But it don't matter. In today's video we'll be seeing the build up to the First World War. But real quickly, I made a new layer which took ages, the stability layer. I also made this, which is cool. It's a white map with the borders. I think it's really cool. But the stability layer, we can see most of Europe is actually yellow stability, and there is a lot of reasons why. The main and biggest reason being, they have these giant empires. Like Galicia is actually a lime colour. Don't know if that would be too realistic. Lime Iberia is actually an orange. Brittany is yellow, and the only stable colonial empire is Sweden and England. India is a yellow colour. Iraq is actually surprisingly a dark green. Then there's 2 red countries, this being that red one, this being this gold one, and the Union, which is going to be interesting for later. But yeah, most of the board is a yellow stability. And I did do a technology map, but it doesn't really matter, because, I don't know, it just doesn't. But let's go to North America. Currently there is absolutely no independent North American countries until today, where Alaska will be revolting. Now, why Alaska? They're controlled by the Orange Asian country. So it's very interesting, but the Orange Asian country hasn't really been focusing in on this Asian colony. They're mainly focused on their homeland and assimilating any Manchurian rebels and just focusing on their mainland. So they haven't been focusing much on Alaska. And Alaska, to the population there, which is somewhere, it doesn't really have a lot of population. The population there is a bit interesting. I don't know if there'd be yellow dots here in real life, but there is in here. If the Orange team really focused on this area, they could build a couple more major cities, like one down here and maybe one up here, but that's a maybe. So Alaska, being tired of not being very cared for, will revolt. Now, it won't be a giant revolt, but it will take place in all of these major cities and some other areas where people actually live. So over here, in this tail area, right over here. And this tail rebellion is very important, because the Orange team really can't send troops over. Now, the Orange team's navy is a very strong one, but, Alaska, the revolt is taking place in autumn, so the seas are frozen, at least I think they are. So the navy really can't do it, and the army is rather not fighting because they support this rebellion, or fighting for the rebellion, or just don't care. So the rebellion, if the Orange team had its troops support, it could easily take out this rebellion, but there's a lot of factors, the weather and the soldiers just not wanting to fight. So eventually the Alaskans will get independent, and I'm gonna try and make them a lighter orange country. I don't know if it'll actually work, since England is right next to them. No, that brown colour's actually very nice. I'm gonna stick it. I don't know about anyone else, but I think it represents Alaska. I actually don't know if it does, but then the brown Alaskan nation will be made, and they're going to actually make some more major cities. Don't know if this would be too realistic, since they're a brand new nation, but they will be making some. They build a brand new major city on the border with the Lime team. They build what was that? They built a brand new major city right in this tail area. I don't know if that's too realistic. And the one that isn't realistic, they built a major what? They built a major city all the way up here, and I know this is insanely unrealistic, but it'll have to do. But for the nation's capital, let me just turn off provinces, and let me just get a good major city place, capital, whatever it's called. For their capital, I don't really think it'd be in one of the new major cities since they're brand new and probably don't have a lot of people living in them. It'd probably be like somewhere over here, or maybe right here. But where should I put their capital? There isn't a lot of major cities, so there isn't really a lot of choices. I mean, this would be a decent choice, I guess, but I'm going to be putting their capital right over here between these two rivers. I think I actually don't know if they're rivers. So, yeah, our first North American nation is actually not as weak as you'd think it is, but Alaska, it's a democratic country, and going over to the ideology layer, you can see there's actually a lot of ideologies in the world. Let me just get rid of this real quick. Yeah, the Moroccan Union was a democracy. It wasn't the most democratic country in the world, but it was still a democracy. I should have painted it a slow democracy, but I don't know. You can actually see there's a lot of democracies in the world. Like, still have no idea what this country is called. They're a flow monarchy. They're not an absolute monarchy, so it's like England, where there's a king, but he has little to no power, and it is just run by a democratic system. Same with this gold country here. There's some absolute monarchies, some dictatorships, there's some full democracies, and what other ideologies? There isn't much. But moving on over to the orange team, not this gold, I'd said that they were very bad instability. They were red stability, and that is quickly going to change as the first communist nation will appear. And this nation, it is going to make a very controversial decision, and that is to join up with the Square Alliance. And this alliance is quickly becoming a bit too large for the Star Alliance. So yeah, that is the 5-point Star Alliance. Alright. The Gold Nation, with promised support from other Square team members, will join, and also because they're not the biggest fan of the Red Team. I actually don't know if they would, since the Red Team and this nation have never interacted. I don't think the Red Team and Egypt have even interacted. So that's a bit worrying. But, I mean, not to worry, Scotland's joining your alliance. I'm not gonna lie, Scotland is weaker than Ireland. Ireland could easily wipe out Scotland. But I guess it is a good distraction if war will take place. Wink wink, it might. And yeah, I'm excited. So, the new alliance here. But it's not the end for the alliance here. As you see, the grain nation, grain is not a colour. I don't think it is, at least. I'm not good with colours. But the Grain Nation will quickly be joining up with the Square Economical Alliance. So, why? Why the Square Economical Alliance? Well, thing is, they're actually the Great Nation and trying Russia are extremely friendly. They fought in the Great Middle Eastern War of episode 19, which was against Iraq. So they're extremely friendly, and if I can get this magic wand up. So yeah, they're extremely friendly. Even before the Great Middle Eastern War, the Grain Nation, I've said it twice, the Grain Nation and Russia were extremely friendly. Not like to the point where they were allies, but they were friendly. So yeah, the Grey Nation will join up with a very blurry triangle. I'm gonna get rid of that real quick. So yeah, they join up. This is taking too long. Why is this Grey Nation taking too long to join the alliance? No idea. But they join the alliance and kind of get the other circle members to join. No one will join yet since they don't really trust this alliance, if that makes the slightest bit of sense. Like, they're just not as willing to accept it. But over to the stability layer. The red team stability isn't completely gone, but the communists are actually very popular in this nation. So we saw the communists rise up very fast. And a lot of nations actually don't like the communists or fascists. Yes, fascism does exist, but it doesn't matter. They will go to an orange colour. And there's only one red stability in the world at this point. Now, the Union country, they've never been stable. In fact, they've always been the red stability, even when they got their independence from the Mongols, which were about 300 years ago in this timeline. So it just shows how unstable they are. And this green nation, and I actually do have the green colour. Yeah, this is a map I made for episode 9. The Iraq and Circle Alliance went to war. So that's very interesting. But the green nation wants their independence. So we see the start of the civil war. The Green Nation quickly rebels away, and this Union country, before they unionised, they were extremely weak. The Green Nation would have easily beat them in a war. And yeah, so we see this go into a dark red country, means they're actively collapsing. So the Green Nation will move in. First of all, the Union country weren't expecting this. Second of all, they're not getting supplies from their allies, the 3-Point Star Alliance, since they prefer this Green Nation. So it will lead to the job of what's it called? It will lead to this Union country leaving said alliance. And Union and this 3-Point Star Alliance is extremely mad. So they declare war on the Union country. So this will just make things a lot harder. And the Union country will get dangerously close to capturing the capital. In fact, they capture all of this lake, apart from the capital. And the capital is very close to being encircled. And it's just the capital. But good news, Russia joins the war. This is a pretty crazy war. The 3-Point Star Alliance versus Russia. Russia has always liked the Union country, and seeing that the Union country is about to be replaced by the Green country, who does not like Russia, Russia moves in, and immediately the Union country sees success with Russian aid. Eventually, they push the Greens and the 3-Point Stars fully out of their nation, and Russia and the Union country will start the invasion of the Blue country. Now, I'm not going to act like this invasion is going to go easy peasy for Russia and the Union. They do capture this major city, and they will try and get the Mongols to join the war, to try and get their land back, but the Mongols don't care. They could honestly try and get Tibet, but if Tibet does, they'd probably just be destroyed again. So yeah, it's a very elongated war. India may or may not be supporting the 3-Point Stars, and yeah, India is, as well as China, but China's not supporting them as much. But Russia knows India is supporting them, since, they found out very fast because there's just so much Indian aid. So it will slow down the Russians and Unions, but they do manage to advance fully into the Blue country. And this would be a perfect opportunity for the Circles to get involved, but the Circle Alliance won't get involved since they have no real point. Eventually, this major city will be captured, and the 3-Point Star Alliance will agree to peace as long as they don't lose anything, any money, any land. So yeah, we see peace, and in the treaty, Union country will be leaving the 3-point star alliance, and in return will be joining up with the economical alliance. So we can see how Russia is greatly expanding this alliance, and if it wanted to, it could easily become a military alliance. But I don't think Russia wants it to be a military alliance, since if it did become a military alliance, not all the members would join. The Grey Team and Union country wouldn't. Finland probably would not, as well as Denmark. So it just leave Russia, I think the Grey Team would, and the Black Transylvanian team. So yeah, that's why it's not really a military alliance. But the economical alliance is definitely large. And speaking of economical alliances, we have to go down to the Indian Economical Alliance. Well, not really India's, but in the scramble for Africa, there were a lot of countries in this Star Economical Alliance. Those countries being the Orange Team, I think this yellow country, Cameroon, was definitely in it, as well as the blue country down here. So it's kind of interesting, since India, and I still have no idea what this country is called, invaded their own alliance members. So it definitely is weird, but I don't. Well, it doesn't matter. So yeah. However, moving forward about 5 years, we can see a lot has happened. Union country has gone to a yellow colour, which is very good for them. This communist nation has stayed orange, since not everyone is a communist. But it's been about 5 years, and the world has been, I don't want to say pretty peaceful, since these alliances have been arguing. No one has joined the alliances, but there's been an arms race, specifically between Carthage and the Red Team, building ships. There are planes, but they're only 2 years old. They're not ready for war. Even if these countries wanted warplanes, they would probably just fail them and be a waste of money. But moving to the navies, this is where something interesting will start. So these, I forgot to do the communist country. I actually don't think they'd have much of a navy at this point. But I'll give them some territorial waters, just to be nice. But to the navies, this is where World War One will be starting. And if you'll let me, yeah. No, you're the GOAT team. I don't think they'd have actually much of a navy, if any. But this is where the war will be starting. And it's all going to start with Bosnia. Bosnia is kind of the lead of said alliance, and they've made a naval, I'm not saying naval, but they made a transition with Greece, their ally, where Bosnia will get all of this. So, Bosnian ships, I need to get a smaller brush. Bosnian ships are moving into Greece's territorial water, since Greece gave it them, since it was pretty much just Bosnia's water anyways. But as Bosnia is going in, they accidentally stray into the Red Team's territorial waters. The Red Team ships find out, and they will, the Bosnian and Red ships will go to meet one another and discuss, how to get back in your own naval water, since these countries kind of want to avoid a war. I mean, maybe not Bosnia, since they're warmongers and the Red Team, but the other alliances want to avoid war. But during the meeting, the captain of the MSS Hood, or what's the Italian name for a naval ship? MSS Italia, a naval ship. One of the officers, in fact their captain, will get shot, and it's pretty obvious who shot the bullet. A Bosnian sailor on his ship. Well, I don't want to say assassin, but he'll kill the captain, even though both sides are trying to discuss how to fix this problem. So it's kind of a naval war. Bosnian and Red ships, and as well as some Greek ships, will open fire on each other. And when this crisis makes its way to the leaders of the countries in the alliances, they will all start pointing fingers. The Red Team will blame that Bosnia and Greece did it, even though they did do it, but not a lot of people know. Carthage blames the red team. Everyone in the Square Alliance will blame others. Ireland will for some reason blame Scotland because they think the Scottish leader made them. Galicia will kind of just defend Scotland. I don't know who these guys would blame. Bosnia and Greece blame the red team as well as Carthage. And it is kind of just the end of diplomatic talks. There's gonna be a war, and the war will begin. Who's starting the war? It's Bosnia. Bosnia, after there being no diplomatic way out of this, will decide that war is the only solution, and about a week after the crisis, they will meet in Carthage with the whole Square Alliance to discuss what to do. So Ireland, the communists, of course Carthage, Greece, Bosnia and France will come to the meeting, and they will decide one thing. Bosnian forces as well as Carthaginian, I don't know what I'm saying. The war will begin. Bosnia starts the war with the agreements of their alliance. And the Square Alliance is now at war with the Star Alliance. I don't think Bosnia would expand that much. But Bosnian forces move in, and it's actually not the only parts, as Irish forces that have been surprisingly building up for this will make a naval landing in Scotland. So yeah, this just makes it even worse. And Scotland was not ready. I'm not going to land in Reading. But that'll do it for today's episode. World War I has officially begun, and it's between the Star and Squares, and it's probably possible that we'll see other countries getting involved on each side to try, I won't say bring peace, but to try and make their side win. So, yeah, be ready for that. But World War I has begun. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it, and bye everyone.